So yesterday I got a lead on a 1950 Harley Davidson Panhead that had been sitting in a garage in North Georgia for over 20 years. So the bike hadn't run in who knows how long. Got some photos of the motorcycle and it looked pretty good. Figured it was worth chasing. So I just got back a few minutes ago and you guys are getting the first look at the motorcycle since it's seen the daylight in who knows how long. So came with a ton of extra parts, which I was almost as excited about as the motorcycle. And our mission today, we're gonna get this thing unstrapped, see if we can get it fired up in short order. Wow, this thing rolls beautifully. So the whole way home, I sat there and thought about this motorcycle and how close it actually looked to being able to be fired up. Normally what we'll do is we'll roll this thing back to the garage, set up a lift, and take care of it in the shop. Now, this thing I think is so close it shouldn't take much more than a little bit of gas, a battery, and maybe some oil. So one of the first things I did when I got to the garage that it was sitting in was kick this motorcycle over. It has great compression, so I think this bike's gonna fire right up. Stick with us, we're gonna add some fluids, see how it goes. Let's get the old 6-volt battery. I hope he didn't convert it to 12 volt too, don't really know. It appears to be a stock style coil, but I suppose you never really know. We're gonna give it a shot and see if we can make it happen. I think it'll work. I think it's gonna work. Okay. So, all right. Battery's installed. We've got spark at the points. That's a big positive. So what I'm noticing too is that there's some modern parts that are put on this bike. It's pretty true to form. It looks like tons of original stuff. It's mostly original motorcycle, but you know, it's got a later model oil dipstick here with a thermometer in it for oil temperature, and you know, the later model axle nut. Small stuff though, almost all of this is original parts, probably original to this bike. I did notice it had a set of sidecar trees on it. This thing sat in a really moist basement, so there's a little bit of wear and tear on the chrome. Overall, the paint looks pretty good. So I think a little bit of cleanup and this bike will be sitting back in good shape. Plugs, plug wrench. Some nice original Harley Davidson 3/4 plugs, man. Those will come in handy. Okay, so yeah, modern tool bag, but that's all right. Kept his plug wrench in there. What do we got? We've got our plug and everything. So what we'll do, check the oil. See what we got. Oil tank is dry. So, not knowing what's in the bottom, we're gonna go ahead and probably start with 1.5 quarts in there, because a lot of the times if you got a whole pile of oil in the bottom, it's gonna pump it and circulate it back up to the top. So we're gonna go ahead and start with probably 1.5. Clean oil tank though. You could see the bottom when it had no grime, no metal, no nothing on it. Potentially the thing was even drained, so we'll find out here real shortly. Yeah, so what we're gonna do here too, we're gonna stop at 1.5 quarts. I'm gonna save that last 1/2 quart for the transmission. Now keep in mind guys, this is just to get the bike running. Before we go riding this bike, before we go making sure the bike's roadworthy, we'll take it to the shop, do full adjustments, chains, front and rear, make sure the brakes are adjusted properly. We'll do a fresh oil change. Fuel tanks look clean when I looked at first. Wow, that's actually got a full, fresh, clean oil in the transmission. There wasn't even a puddle underneath it when we picked it up in the garage, Steve, so I think that whoever built this transmission knew what they were doing. Hopefully the work of the engine is indicative of the same. So we're gonna go ahead and pop that last quart in here, or last half a quart, since we've got oil in the trans. And I'm thinking we can probably fill this thing with gas and go. If all goes according to plan, it ought to crank right up if the float doesn't stick, if the carb's not gummed up. Looking at the gas tanks, it appears it was drained, so you can only hope as much for the second part of the fuel system, the carburetor, the float bowl. So we shall see. Okay, we got a little over half the tank on the right side. You got 3.5 gallon tanks on a 50 Panhead, so 1.75 on each side. That gives us, I'd say we're probably sit at right in about a gallon in the right side tank. So at this point, guys, this is where it gets exciting. I think we probably turn the fuel on. We'll keep the carburetor or the screwdriver hanging out just in case we need to tap that float bowl. And hopefully we're back in business with another 1950 Harley Davidson Model FL Panhead. No leaks yet. Looky there, I'm glad I pulled that off. Holy cow. Looks like rat's nest, sand, who knows. Good thing the choke was closed that whole time. Doesn't appear anything was ever in the throat, but that carburetor looks clean inside. All right, we're gonna go for it. Here we are, guys. Fingers crossed, first start in 20 or so years. 1950 Harley Davidson Panhead. Oh yeah, we got plenty of fuel. Retard. Ooh, there we go. It's almost like that first key isn't working. I heard some life. Okay, so we'll give it a little more choke. There we go. this engine, but man, it is nice. It's smooth, there's no vibration. It's quiet. Panheads are notoriously noisy, and this thing just purrs. The speedometer works. Just quiet. That original Harley-Davidson muffler sounds fantastic. Big success, guys. Another one for the stable right here at Wheels Through Time. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Check out Wheels Through